Hey, what's going on, everybody? Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are. My name is King Wabi the First, and here we are with another edition of Crypto World Radio presented to you by Because Bitcoin, where we give you guys content Monday through Friday. We have our market check show at 11 a.m. Eastern Time with our CEO Max, and also Premise and Snorlax. Then we have Market Talk with our boy Carter at 4:15 p.m. Eastern Time here on Twitter Spaces, and then myself at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And today it's going to be more of a community-based space. We have a new speaker on the panel, Crypto Jack, who has participated as a listener in some of our previous spaces in both Market Talk and Crypto World Radio. And we're also joined by our friends Feel Pain and Nakamoto Lisk. It's good to have you guys here. We also have our boy Emergent. I'll invite him up as a speaker. And yeah, today's going to be more of a laid back spaces and just talk general BTC and crypto talk and our passions behind it. I honestly and truly believe that if you're still around after everything that's occurred over the last year, then you're truly passionate about sticking around and seeing this overall cycle of digital assets through to the end, depending on what your goals are. I know for myself, over the last 2 years, I've always wanted to build something, be a part of something, and you know, thankfully I met individuals like Max and Carter, and we are officially in the process of becoming an industry player, and it's great to take you guys along with us since day one. It's good to have you guys here. We'll start off with Naka, bro. How are you feeling, man? It's the start of a new year, huh? A couple of days into 2023, and it really seems like, if we're in the chart, it seems like the pause button has been hit over the last few months.
Yeah, hey man, thanks for having me on. Yeah, I mean the charts, for crypto have been crabby, but when you look under the hood, and you look at so two things I look at are the stable cap, so just the total market cap of all of the stable coins put together, and the stable coin supply ratio, which is all of the risk assets divided by all of the stable coins. There's a pretty clear trend, and the trend is down, right? The stable cap is trending down, and the stablecoin supply ratio, which indicates risk appetite, is low, and it sort of oscillates, right? We have a bear market rally, it pumps a bit, we dump. We have another bear market rally, it pumps a bit, we dump. But the stable cap keeps trending down. So, I mean, prices now that are considered a bear market rally, those same prices in October or something would have been considered really kind of oversold, right? So there is a trend. The trend is down. It's just kind of it's just kind of well disguised by the way the charts take a sort of staircase down. um Macro, it doesn't look great, but I'm still not 100% certain what's happening. So I'd be interested to hear what other people have to say, what other people think. Who's bullish, who's bearish, what's the bull case, what's the bear case, and how long is this going to last?
Yeah, for myself, dude, I've noticed something eerily similar compared to what we saw back in late October, early November, and that's meme coins pumping. Um, I'm sure everyone knows by
I was
now,
just
but
about to say, brother.
yeah, yeah, but there's a specific token for the individuals that aren't in the know. There was an airdrop given to the NFT holders on Sol, and that token was called Bunk or Bunk or however you want to pronounce it, and it's essentially like a Shiba Inu sort of thing. And the tokenomics work in this fashion. The individuals that created the smart contract, their tokens are locked up in the LP for 3 years, and so there's no excessive sell pressure. And given that Alameda isn't constantly dumping eco tokens anymore, um, all the liquidity in Solana went towards one thing, and it did like 1,000x, I believe. It went from like a 500K market cap all the way to almost a billion. So and that was in a matter of like a week and a half. and it was all over Bloomberg. And I believe Vestige Pain, he said that it was also mentioned on CNN or something like that. But it was mentioned on
Yeah.
Bloomberg. It was mentioned on Bloomberg yesterday. And Airmass, a good friend of the show, is like, guys, what am I missing out on here? What is Boonk? Should I buy?
I do. I use
Oh
the
my god.
Bloomberg terminal at my old university, and I saw they put out a piece about Bunk. I was like, "That's the top, bro." I don't, and everyone was so euphoric that it was just my entire timeline. And then I think they're listing it on Perps tomorrow for Bybit. So
Yeah, and that's usually the top. So to me,
Hey, hang on. This sounds familiar.
it
Where have
does.
we heard this story before?
And we're
It's
also
like it's like the spirit of Sam never really left Solana.
yeah, dude, you're sort of trading. Our boy Carter says this in the Discord a lot, and for those of you that want some friendly engagement with well over 1,000 community members, check out our Discord. Our boy Carter has been absolutely on fire, giving the alpha and also dropping some of the more funny humor side of him that he's known for. He says that as far as crypto is concerned, you're pretty much trading against the ghost of Alameda, and that's pretty much true, man. Like if you guys recall, Sol had that gnarly BART formation. It went from what was it, 26 to 38, and it BART right back down in like the span of 2 4-hour candles. So
did that
around
like
that,
3 times over the summer.
yeah, and we also had Doge and Shib Pump and Floki Pump, and if you take a look at
Dude, they
Soul
got
Scan, like everyone is now going into the meme coins. So we can also look at what's happening with DCG, and I believe today, guys, if you're not aware, they just closed their wealth management division, which is about $3.5 billion, and the Winklevoss twins, however you want to say it, um, got into somewhat of a childish debate with Barry Silbert concerning a loan repayment north of $1 billion. So, with that being said, we now have that headwind um, over over our shoulder here in the crypto market.
Don't
So
forget Silvergate as well.
yeah, so it's kind of like, what are we gonna have? Um, are we gonna have like sort of a rip the band-aid off, and we're gonna see BTC with a 35% candle to the downside, and what I like to call, and you guys have heard me say this before, the 12-hour death candle, and essentially it's just like an onslaught of everyone getting out. Or if you look at that Wall Street cheat sheet meme chart, it's what is it? Capitulation. Everyone's selling. I need to get out. So I kind of feel like we're in that environment, and not so much that disgusting chop that we had after August. I really feel like this market just needs to rip the band-aid off and introduce some of that volatility, man. So Jack, man, look, go ahead and introduce yourself. I know you've been wanting to speak for a while on here. So go ahead and introduce yourself, man. And today's more of a casual discussion, man. No pressure. Welcome to the Because of Bitcoin community. As you know, we have more Twitter Spaces like these. We have a crypto segment, which is myself, and then an earlier one, which is Market Talk with Carter, which is more of like the equity market and macroeconomic side of things. So feel free to introduce yourself to the crowd, brother.
All right, man. Hey, I appreciate it. Hey guys, I'm Crypto Jack. I've been live streaming on Twitch, which is primarily my where I put out my content for about coming up on 2.5 years now. I started right at the beginning of the bull run in 2020 because I could see it on the charts. I'm a technical analyst, and that kind of stuff really gets me going. If anybody's an analyst, I think it was Nakamoto speaking earlier, talking about what he looks like. There's stuff. Wyckoff is a word you'll hear coming out of my mouth a whole lot. So Wyckoff accumulation on the macro and stuff like that. But not just that. I also look for distribution. I'm a big believer in seeing tops before they occur. I'm a big believer that charts will show you what's going to happen well before any kind of news event. So I trade charts rather than news 99% of the time. And it's been because of that, I have aptly earned the moniker Bear Jack. So people call me Bear Jack because I called I exited the markets and encouraged people to consider risking off about 60,000 or so based on what the charts were showing, and my bear market low kind of worst case nuclear option for Bitcoin right now is about $4,000, which sucks and nobody wants to hear it, and I know. But there's a lot of things in the charts that kind of point down to that. I listened to your executive you were talking about earlier, who is on the equity side. I do a lot of work in the traditional markets. I worked with a group for 15 years. We took them public. I've been to NASDAQ. I've been on the floor. I've done it all kind of. But this is my passion. I really really enjoy the crypto side of things and discussing crypto content with everybody. So anyway, just happy to be here, and I'll pipe in here and there. But thanks, guys.
No problem, man. Thank you for that clean introduction. Thank you so much, dude. Our boy Airmass actually has experience with that as well, and it's kind of interesting to hear the voices of people behind the PFP. And if you take a look at his profile, it's always like 200K by next summer, 300K by Q3 of this year. But if you
hang on, no, it was 200K by Q4 of last year, wasn't it? The fucking price is gonna have to go backwards in time and up at the same time for Airmass to be right.
Yeah, but like when you listen to individuals like that talk, it kind of gives like another side of him, and he knows this stuff, man. When it comes to fundamentals and like the way certain protocols work, especially more of like the complex nature, like the DAG sort of technology, which is complicated even for myself. A very good steward when it comes to the technical side of things of how these protocols work. So fellas, let's get into the nitty gritty of things. We'll start off with Payne. Payne, what has kept you interested in over the last like couple of quarters where there's not really much excitement? What is it that keeps you around with faith that liquidity will come back into the markets?
What's up, Lobby? Well, yeah, for me, dude, one thing that's definitely really helped is just been being around people like y'all that kind of keep me active and keep me going. It's pretty fun to just shoot the shit with a bunch of people who are in the same boat as me, who know they have faith in the long-term vision of crypto and know it's not going to just come back. Because ultimately, I think if you're taking a bet against crypto, like as a whole with the entire industry, you're kind of betting on people not being greedy, which will never obviously happen. People are going to be greedy till the end of time. And when liquidity is rampant, they're going to continue speculating. And I know because, I mean, there will come a point where things, even the biggest bears, are just going to go, well, things are so cheap that objectively the risk to reward of not buying the scams at these levels is just doesn't make sense to not own any. I'll punt whatever to try to get a 50x, sure, and then once it starts looking like those evaluations, I think that'll probably be about somewhere like 50% lower from here, honestly. Just because I don't see any real reason for us to just suddenly turn around, like nothing's really changed from a macro perspective. And I mean, there's still money to be made though, like shit coins and NFTs have been pumping. So that's been entertaining. There's been some really great NFT plays in the last couple weeks, like Sappy Seals and Pudgy Penguins I mentioned on the show like a month and a half ago. Those are both up like 2 or 3x. Yeah, man, I've just been dabbling with like not playing the majors too much or trading on perps as much. I've kind of just been trying to traded a little bit of bonk. I didn't catch like any crazy multiples, but just like day trading it was kind of fun. And then trading NFTs has really been what I've been up to. And then just searching for things that are fundamentally undervalued that have good fundamentals. Like we've talked about stuff like Celestia, um, Nillion, some projects that we're excited about that I think will launch at stuff that is not going to be insane. Evaluations might even be lower than what the VCs got. So, just staying active and keeping an eye out for those kind of projects has kind of kept me in the loop.
Yeah, and about the NFT stuff. Some of you guys know after these spaces, sometimes I like to dabble in those circles. And let me tell you, man, it might be a bear market, but there are actually more NFT or the cringe Web3 sort of spaces. And man, talking about the Sappy Seals, those guys are absolutely insane, and they're right up there with the D Gods and the Utes crew. But I
They
won't
go
really
hard,
make.
bro.
I'm not
I think
gonna I'm not gonna make people's ears bleed or anything like that. But like, talking about the founder Wob, I was actually in a couple of spaces with him, and pretty chill dude. And then come to find out, he's actually like the creator of the collection, and it made me think. It really made me think. Like, if these guys are putting in, if these guys are putting in, I would say only 75% of the work of some of these other devs, then why aren't these devs like communicating on spaces? Like, at the very least, try to have at least one space a week to communicate with your audience. Because in an essence, like I've said before, even though crypto is a lot more different than the equity market, your holders are still your clients. They're still your customers. There's always somebody holding the bag in the background, right? So it's like, why aren't they on spaces? And not something I like to press on about, but just a question in the back of my mind. Um, but I understand it's a difficult time, and they're trying to raise liquidity in the background because I'm assuming during this environment, there's not really many market makers left. I mean, you have what? You have the Matic market maker. The ETH one is always going to be around, and Phantom maybe, but but
yeah,
that
it's pretty
but
dead.
that guy has his period every other week, it seems, dude. He's rugged FTM like how many times? Twice. Once back in March with Solidly, and then
He just throws on the towel.
yeah, dude. And then it's like if you look at the TVL, right, and you see how quickly it evaporates. It's sort of like, man, when you're in DeFi, it's not really like, oh, I'm so passionate about DeFi. Like, no, you're passionate about DeFi for a couple of weeks. That's the real thing, because once you get into
That's why, dude, TVL is the biggest psyop of all time. Like nothing is actually locked. Like that's why it's so funny to me, like that term, like total value locked. Because is it really locked if you can just take it out at any point in time? I don't know. It's kind of dumb.
yeah,
But
I'm
uh
assuming why. That's why like Cosmos DeFi is a lot different than your regular LP pool on Ethereum. Like, so the way Cosmos works is that even with LP pools, um, because they're on that whole like shared economic security consensus, at least they're trying to build up towards it. Um, there's a number of time periods that you have to wait for your stuff to unbond. So with the Atom token, it takes about 21 days. And then in the osmosis pools, in order for you to take advantage of that yield, um, there's 7-day waiting periods and 14-day waiting periods. And as you're being quote unquote unbonded, your yield actually goes down. So, I mean, maybe that'll work, but I doubt it. So we'll go on to Naka. Naka, what has kept you interested in the market? Because I know you're one of the individuals that even if it's sort of a quiet day on Twitter, you'll find some way to post content. Like I remember you on Christmas and on New Year's, you were still pushing out content and finding out
Oh
new
yeah, I mean
metrics.
that's just because
finding
I
BTC maxis.
yeah. I mean that's just actually I had a bit of a flu and I was due to travel, but I had to cancel it, so I had to do something. Um, but yeah, I mean, what can I say? I think there is some value to be had in trying to work out what's happening next in crypto. And when I say what's happening next, I mean in 3, 4, 5 years, that kind of thing. Um, I've actually changed my mind a little bit about what I think is going to happen, um, or at least maybe not changed it, but just kind of like um, made my mind up a lot more than I was made up before. Um, but I mean, also there's the macro stuff. I mean, the problem with the macro stuff, which is really sort of dominating everything, um, is it's kind of hard for most people to really have much of an opinion on it. Um, I mean, people's guesses are still sort of all over the place. There's people are saying, "Yeah, it's the fucking end times," and there's some people saying the bottom's in. So it's pretty weird, really. But yeah, I mean, in terms of what's keeping me interested, I think at least having some view as to what's going to happen in the future, um, where the space is going long term, and also why do we spend time on crypto? What's the point, right? I mean, is it ever gonna mature? Is it ever gonna find the kind of use cases and the kind of adoption that's been promised? What would it take for that kind of thing? So yeah, I mean, I've done some research on the Bitcoin side, done some research on the ETH side, and to be honest, I'm more bullish ETH than Bitcoin right now. And actually, I was looking at Cosmos a little bit as well. I'm kind of like, yeah, I mean, like, Cosmos, I think Cosmos is going to do well. And the reason it's going to do well is because it's the only crypto apart from ETH that isn't a scam. The only like major that isn't a scam, right? Bitcoin, kind of sort of doesn't count because it doesn't have smart contracts. Polkadot, AVAX, Solana, all this other shit is basically scammy. And Cosmos seems to be Cosmos seems to be where the devs are. Yeah, go ahead.
You said AVAX? What? What's going on with AVAX, dude? I thought it changed the way we purchase a Snickers bar, dude, on the C chain, dude. What's going on?
Yeah,
man?
I mean, like, I think Avalanche consensus is kind of fundamentally quite sound. The problem is crypto is moving on from monolithic L1s, right? And it's moving more towards modular blockchains.
Do you know about Avalanche subnets, Naka?
Yeah, I mean,
I think it's a pretty cool idea.
I don't think this is going to get as much traction as the roll-up world because I don't think the subnets share economic security, and this I think is what's going to fuck them.
Wasn't Amir on Twitter acting pretty sour?
He was very sour.
What was that about, Payne? Share with us.
It was basically I guess they tracked some wallets and they found out that like back in October, like $20 million worth of different NFT projects, it was across like 10 different collections, were bought and swept by Alameda. And so the founder basically said, "Oh, the founder of AVAX, Anir or whatever, he said, "Oh, it's pretty hard to compete with fraud." Like, so, he was obviously a little pressed about, because I think they're doing like 200x the volume for NFTs on Solana as they are on AVAX. But the thing is, it's like, okay, dude, well, you're acting like 3AC wasn't just making your TVL go parabolic during the bull run.
Yeah, I mean, I
Ponzi every Ohm fork. Like, you can't really say that it's hard to compete against.
The thing is, I think what happened is AVAX did like a little bit of fraud, and Solana was like full fraud. Solana was basically being pumped by your deposits onto FTX, right? Whereas AVAX was like a little bit of aping from Zoo.
Yeah.
So it's like you can compete with fraud by doing more fraud, and that's exactly what Solana did, right? AVAX was a little bit fraudulent, Solana was full fraud, just turbo fraud, right? Like,
guys, what do you think? Speaking of AVAX, what do you think of them partnering up with the INX group? And sorry guys, a bus just passed. Sorry for that. But what do you guys think of their partnership with INX Group? They're trying to work with making financial assets tokenized and things like security tokens. They're basically like the first SEC regulated platform and issuer of digitalized assets. So there's a potential for them to essentially AVAX could do a rebrand and become a commodity of sorts if that's the case. And we all know that rebrands are often sort of bullish. The only thing that stops AVAX, in my opinion, from ever even coming close to an all-time high from like that sort of value perspective is their token emissions. They have 25% inflation this year. So if you factor that in over what's going to come over the next 2 years, it's going to take at least double of the buying pressure on an asset like AVAX and a lot of these other L1s to even come close to their evaluation. So now you have an issue with supply versus demand, and it's going to be a lot harder for these tokens to come back from the dead. And that's why, like, I ultimately believe that fresh charts are what's going to outperform outside of the ones that have been outperformers, like things like Quant Network, which is working more for like a regulated DeFi sort of stuff and onboarding institutional clients, KYC wallets and front ends, things of that nature. Then, of course, everyone here knows about Matic. So, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, Quant, as far as I'm aware, a number of people think Quant is basically full fraud. Like, it's just basically bullshit. They don't have a product and they just pay people to lie about it. I've gone to their website, and you go to the Quant website, there's no information about what their product is. It's just marketing. So, I mean, I don't know what Quant does. It pumps a lot. People love it. People say it has some kind of institutional narrative, but I think it's quite possibly full-on vaporware fraud.
I think
I
so
mean,
too. It just has some attractive tokenomics. I think that's one of the only reasons. There's like a fixed supply, and I think they burn QNT on occasion.
yeah, I mean,
Just-
Solana had attractive tokenomics as well, which was that they were stealing everyone's deposit from FTX and pumping it, right? Like, you know, if you're late to a token and Quant's up like 1,000x or something stupid like that, you know, I find it hard to be bullish about it at this stage.
Yeah.
Um,
I was gonna ask you, Naka. So, like, with the whole FTX deposits thing, I was thinking about it because I was asking Wabi about this. So, like, let's say you bought BTC on FTX, right? But it was actually just pumping Solana, right?
yeah,
So would that buy not show up on the FTX BTC order book or what?
yeah, it would. It would show up on their order book. Yeah. But
So,
the thing is, like, it would depend whether you're talking about. So you're talking about a spot buy, right? It would show up on their order book,
yes.
but they wouldn't actually have the Bitcoin. They would just claim to have bought the Bitcoin, but they wouldn't actually have any.
Oh, okay.
Because
So it's still
when they
made. So it would show up in the order book, but it wouldn't affect price.
well, it would affect price to the extent that people responded to it, but they didn't actually hold any Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
So they
Okay,
didn't
that
have
makes a
any
little more
Bitcoin.
sense.
So they were basically selling paper Bitcoin. They were saying, you know, you have ordered one Bitcoin, and then their data feeds would say, here's Phil Payne's Bitcoin order at such and such a price. And then presumably other exchanges and oracles and stuff like that would update on that, but there wasn't any Bitcoin there. Now, that's with the spot. With perps, you know, perps are like, you know, with a perp, you're not supposed to be holding the asset, right? It literally is just a paper product. But usually with perps, the dealer is usually not going to be exposed directionally. So the people who are betting bullish and the people who are betting bearish are usually balanced out on perps. But, like, I mean, to come back to Wabi's point about, you know, real world assets and shit like that, I mean, you know, crypto is always full of lies and hype and hopium and all this shit. Like, I haven't seen anything compelling in that area. I've seen a lot of people poking at it, trying to do something. But why would you want that? Why would you want to hold, you know, stock on crypto? It doesn't make sense. Like, if you want to do something like a house or a car or, you know, like under collateralized loans and stuff like that, all that stuff is great, but we don't have the Oracle solutions to make that work. So crypto is kind of stuck without really oracles that actually work for real world events, which is why most of what's going on in crypto right now is either trading related or NFT related, right? Because, you know, you can have an oracle for other crypto asset prices and you can have an oracle for NFT floors. And, you know, that's probably where it's going to stick for a while until somebody figures out a way to solve the Oracle problem, and that's not an easy problem to solve.
Good points, dude. Good points. Jack, what has kept you interested in this market throughout the last couple of months?
Yeah, I mean it's a good question. I like that you're going around with it. For me, it kind of boils down to screwing something up big time. Back in 2016, kind of when I first got into Bitcoin slash crypto, and I sold a virtual asset. It was if anybody plays Counter Strike, you'll know they have these skins and change the way your guns look and stuff like that. And I sold something at the time. It was worth about 65 Bitcoin, which wasn't a crazy amount of money, but it was more than I'd ever had. It was like 30 or 40 grand or something at the time in dollars. And I got it in Bitcoin. The buyer wanted to use Bitcoin. He was all hell bent on it. So we made it work. And I immediately sold it for cash or for dollars. I didn't know the first thing about Bitcoin. I didn't know what I was doing. It was just a medium for me. And I very quickly got rid of the Bitcoin and got the dollars, and I was happy. And that at the time, I think the dollar value of a Bitcoin was like $500 or whatever the math is. And then it went to 20 grand. And so only kind of like during that run, now I caught part of the run and I started to figure out what was happening, but that's really what got me into it. And that's kind of the ghost that haunts me is like, okay, you let a significant, like a life-changing amount of money just go. Let's go get it back. Like, let's figure this out. Let's take it slow. Let's be methodical, and let's go get it back. So to answer your question, kind of point blank of like why I'm still here is because guaranteed I'm going to be here at the bottom, like 100%. I'm going to be here, and not only that, I'm going to be able to use the charts to see not necessarily what would be the best alt or the best kind of like which I view alts as like kind of leverage Bitcoin. Everything to me goes back to Bitcoin. All I want is more Bitcoin, the end. But I can use alts as a way to get that potentially. So at the start of the last bull run, it was really clear that ADA, that Ethereum, that there's a number of them, XMR even, there's 3 or 4 Neo, that there's ways to see on the charts that the whales are really loading up, and they spend years doing it, and they have these like really clever ways of going about it. And every now and then you can see it. And so I want to be able to not only be around at the bottom, but be able to see it happening as well. So to me, that's kind of the dream.
Hey, I have a question for you. If we look at Bitcoin's price in inflation-adjusted dollars, normalized to today, what do you think the maximum price Bitcoin's ever going to get to is? So not the maximum real dollar price, but the maximum inflation-adjusted price.
It's a good question. And I don't know because I don't spend a lot of time at it. I think I looked at one chart that was inflation adjusted a year ago. So I have done zero analysis on it. But on the non-inflation adjusted, so just on a normal chart, one thing I do like to point out is it's not a matter of like if Bitcoin is ever worth $300,000. The question is, what will $300,000 buy you at that time? Which is essentially what you're pointing out. Like inflation adjusted, where are we going to be in the future? And it's a good question. I don't have a great answer for it. I do see a world where Bitcoin is the global currency, like reserve currency that's used. And I don't think we just go there tomorrow. I think we're a decade away from something like that. But to me, it just makes the most sense. If we all kind of agree that the dollar's falling out, it's like, okay, then who? Are we going to use Russia's currency? Are we going to use China's? Is it just whoever has more nukes? Like, how are we going to settle on something? And if everyone's got guns drawn on each other, perhaps they can all kind of say, all right, well, look, if we use Bitcoin, none of us really benefit. So, okay, let's use Bitcoin. I don't know.
It's totally possible. I mean, what I kind of worry with us all being Westerners, you guys are from America, I'm from Britain. We don't have anyone here from Russia, as far as I'm aware. I have Ethitaku, he's a Russian. But they might not see it like that in the rest of the world. They might see all of crypto as essentially an American like scam, and they're going to want to use gold because that is neutral, and all of them have it. I'm not sure. Yeah,
not to cut the conversation off, but I posted something on the Nest by a good friend of the brand, Garland Wan, founder of Momentum 6. If you guys want to check it out, it seems that Hawaii is undergoing some severe issues. So, if anyone here, I know for the majority of our audience, they come from America, and some of you come from, of course, like the UK side of things. But if any of you have any exposure to Hawaii, I would recommend that you start doing your due diligence and protecting any of your assets that you may have on there. So, just wanted to say that out loud. So, see, we have Nicholas 555X here, brother. What's going on, man?
Yo, can I just jump in and say that
Go ahead.
Russia's Gazprom is actually like doing a Bitcoin mining project right now. So I don't think Russia's that averse to it. And I also think their energy minister at least like hinted at maybe allowing Bitcoin as like a payment for commodities like their oil.
Yeah, I mean, the Russians might dip their toes in. I do feel that stuff that, some Russian kind of minister says, often the Hopian merchants blow it a bit out of proportion. The track record on that kind of stuff, it tends to happen, when there's a bull run. People who don't really know much about crypto, they get a bit bullish on it, and then the price stagnates, and then they forget about it. But we'll see. I mean, it's possible. That Bitcoin ends up. I mean, I guess one of the big advantage that Bitcoin has is it's actually a very easy to understand crypto, right? I mean, like, I could just explain right now how Bitcoin works. You have miners, they solve hashes, et cetera, right? You guys know the story. And because it's sort of the first, because it's simple, it's kind of easy for people without much knowledge to trust that they're not basically getting scammed. So yeah, I mean, it could happen. I mean, I'm not sure how likely it is to happen, but it's certainly a possibility. So I mean, like, I have some Bitcoin. People have been trying to show me Monero as like the new Bitcoin though, which is quite an interesting trade.
I think Monero is super fundamentally sound, but I just don't think it's gonna pump that hard because you can't really buy it that many places. Like, I don't know. I think it's, as far as like altcoins go, it's not a bad, like, you're not going to lose tons of money in my opinion because the team is really good. They change it every 3 months, so it can't ever be hacked. I mean, it's basically it's the pitch is, it's what people think Bitcoin is, in the sense of like this immutable money you can't take. But I mean, there's not that much liquidity for it, and I don't know, unless there gets some like really big change. Like if we get a CSBC or some kind of government regulated stablecoin, I could see it pumping, maybe like on a privacy narrative, but I wouldn't be like putting all my eggs in one basket for Monero.
Yeah, I mean, it's
like there's nowhere to buy it really besides like KuCoin.
Well, I mean, you can get it on Thorchain, I think. Can you get it on
Sure.
Thorchain? I think so. I mean, think like crypto in 3-4 years, people might be using a wallet, right? And the back end of the wallet is Thorchain. And they're not using a centralized exchange, right? I mean, Huobi's apparently getting destroyed. Barry's having a big week. There's an ongoing.
Dude, Kobe said it's gonna be a big year, dude.
Going to be a big year, yeah. There's an ongoing investigation into Binance, right?
I mean, dude, Binance is kind of the mafia, dude. I think it was kind of like a knock on wood. Not to throw any shade here, but there were certain Bitcoin exclusive companies, right, that may or may not have hundreds of thousands of followers, that may or may not live on Magoo's late night spaces. And for 2 weeks, fellas, instead of promoting Bitcoin and, encouraging people to buy mining rigs or, sign up for their for their BTC exclusive exchange, they were essentially bashing CZ every single waking hour, every minute of the day, every second of the day, and we had $10 billion in withdrawals. That would have destroyed any other exchange. And
Dude,
now,
most banks can't do that.
and now what? Now what? What's happening to Binance? CZ is taking a ski trip. Come on now. Come on now. And that's why yesterday I brought up the topic. If you're a BTC maxi, that's fine. That's cool. We all love BTC. But why would you exert your energy focusing on, oh, I hope Gary Gensler makes XRP a security? Why are you guys trading unregistered securities? It's like you're a soy jack, with your BTC cap, your BTC t-shirt, your BTC socks, right? What's next, dude? BTC toothpaste? Because there definitely seems to be a lot of BTC Kool-Aid, man.
It would have to be orange toothpaste though. That would be gross. Imagine they got orange toothpaste and it's orange flavored and it's just got like Bitcoin on the tube and they just fucking brush their teeth with it.
Micropaste.
The thing is,
it's going to be called micropaste.
Micropaste.
What's it going to be backed by, bro? It's going to be backed by energy, dude. That's what
you have to. Yeah, I don't know. You have to fucking charge it.
You have to turn on a gasoline motor to brush your teeth.
You're gonna have to turn a mining rig,
the thing is with the centralized exchanges, it's not healthy for people to be using centralized exchanges, right? It's a necessary transitional step, but it does need to end. And I would personally like to see all.
I'm not sure. I think there's
fellas,
a place for them.
Fellas, new development in the Huobi thing. I'm sorry. Let me have my Weenie Hut Jr. reporter moment. This is fresh, hot, right from Because Bitcoin. So Sun Lu Huobi has closed the communication group with internal employees today and blocked all communication and feedback channels with employees. This is very dangerous, and it is not ruled out that internal employees rebel and directly rug away user assets or programmers and backdoor Trojan horses. And this has happened to multiple exchanges over the last year. Those who have assets on Huobi must withdraw them quickly, and those who have no assets must uninstall the Huobi app to prevent it from being automatically updated to a version with a Trojan horse. So if you guys combine that with the supposed January 8th deadline for DCG to repay back Gemini with their user funds assets from Gemini Earn, probably going to see a leg down. Sorry, I got a call there. But gosh, we're really in for a big week, huh? But perhaps this is kind of like an extended version of 2015, and potentially we bottom out by, like, I don't know, Easter time. That'd be pretty good. Easter.
Sorry, Easter of which year? Oh shit, bro!
Gosh, man. Easter of which year?
You laugh now, but
Naka, that's the first time I heard you excited, man. But I mean, I think, like I said, this
Bears are euphoric,
dude. I think this year is like one of the last chances you'll be able to bid Bitcoin below the
above 15K. It's your last chance to short above 15.
But
it's a once in a lifetime opportunity to get that short entry.
Would you entertain the fact that, like, perhaps we see something like we did during that bottom in early 2015, where like crypto just takes a dump while equities roar? Because, dude, if you take a look at those charts, when good old granny sugar mommy auntie Yellen got into the Federal Reserve, and you take a look at when she got in, I think it was like April of 2014. Take a look at what happened over the next few quarters, bro. That lady got all of her Social Security benefits, dude, and she injected it on 100,000x leverage onto the Nasdaq, and that was beautiful, dude. So perhaps this time is going to be the same, where crypto just like lags behind tech, and possibly with something like Arbitrum, Layer Zero, and Celestial all coming to the same quarter brings back some interest. Like if there's something that we've learned is that liquidity often comes back into crypto whenever there's like a new narrative. And what that narrative is, it's probably going to be new consensus protocols. And I understand that there's a lot of if, but you'll kill yourself by over analysis. And I also think that like with Lightning Labs and their Taro proposal, I understand that it's still like in the early stages of development, but I truly believe that like what's going to take Bitcoin to over 100,000 is shitcoins being built on top of it, and some sort of stable coin. And but whether or not it actually takes liquidity away from things like Ethereum and other smart contracts platforms remains to be seen. But again,
Wait, hang on. You think Taro is going to take liquidity away from Ethereum?
no, not take away per se, but at least have some of the users that dabble on Ethereum go over to Bitcoin as well. So say I'm a user on Ethereum. So say I'm a user on Ethereum, right? And like I love Aave, so I put some of my funds that I gain from LPs on other protocols, right? And then that yield that I get from those pools, I kind of dabble in Taro. So it's not like a lot of TVL escapes from ETH, because I ultimately believe that like Ethereum will be around over the next like few decades, in my opinion. Um, I just think that
But I mean, the thing is, as far as I'm aware, and I haven't looked into this very deeply, Taro is a way to route centralized stablecoins over the Lightning Network.
yeah, and you're
So I
also
think
you're also allowed to create like omni chain layered smart contracts, but it's not smart contracts like you would think of it on Ethereum. It would be sort of like, if you check out, I've mentioned this project before, but again, guys, I don't recommend you buy this project. This project is literally like apparently it's like Jack Dorsey's secret pet project. It's sort of like those black hacker super shadowy super coders kind of project. It's called a Xenon Network, and essentially like it's another proof of work consensus algorithm. But the way it works, it's basically like, imagine BTC type DeFi, and it's like the most complex thing ever. And if you use their wallet and their interface, it's like the most difficult thing ever. And that's why like last bull run it did like a literal 10,000 X, and it got to like the top 100 in market cap, but nobody really paid attention to it. It was more of a like the background from all the hype that was going on. So it kind of gives you like a perspective of how much value can be added to Bitcoin. And by value, of course, that means speculation. But I mean, if anyone here has dabbled in DeFi, then what nine figures can do to any protocol when you inject it into DeFi. It just creates like this over leveraged sort of thing, and it's like, but how do you get to Bitcoin to over 100K? I mean, and to stay above 100K for at least like a couple of weeks, right? Not just a tiny wick. It's leverage. It's always going to be leverage, man. And the next sort of leverage, in my opinion, is some sort of like fake DeFi on BTC, because it's not going to be DeFi as we know it, right? Last cycle we had derivatives, but it wasn't derivatives that you would think of pertaining to the equity markets, because in the equity markets you have so many more options when it comes to derivatives, right? And in crypto, like you only have like two platforms for options, and like the danger with options in crypto is that the TVL is so low and the books are so thin, you can't really take advantage of it. And it is a bit different compared to equities. So if that really didn't work, the option side of things, perhaps it can work for the DeFi side, options and stuff like that. But as far as like Bitcoin is concerned, then the next layer of derivatives, right? The next layer of leverage to achieve a higher asset price from a speculation standpoint, because that's what it really comes down to, right? A market is based on speculation, buyers and sellers. That's what makes a market, right? So I think, this is my thesis, me personally, I think shitcoins on BTC and stable coins being built on it, even if it's just an experiment, will create added buying pressure to BTC, regardless if people interact with it or not.
But I mean, what do you mean by shitcoins on BTC? Because you can't do that with Bitcoin. It doesn't have smart contracts. Now there are like various.
So it does have smart contracts, but it's not set up like an ERC20
Yeah,
or whatever.
that's
It's
the
not
thing.
like it's not built like that.
Well, I mean, it doesn't have Turing completeness. Bitcoin itself is not Turing complete. You cannot execute arbitrary code on Bitcoin.
Right. I real quick, guys. I have to run. I have some family stuff, but thanks for having me on. I enjoyed the conversations. I wanted to leave you with one Bearjack thing. I have a suspicion, and I've put this out for about 7 months now, so nothing's changed. This has been the thesis all along. I think all assets, and Bitcoin included, return to their COVID lows. So whatever March 2020 was, look at those lows, and that's my worst case scenario. So I'll leave you with that cheerful thought. Later, boys.
Larry, man, thanks for coming on, man.
I appreciate it. I gave you a follow.
We'll go over to Nicholas 555X. But before that, guys, if you just came into the space, we're here with friends of the show. It's more of a community type of space. Anyone can come up and give your thoughts, ask any questions. Feel free to do so. Go ahead and click that request button if you'd like to, and I'll bring you right on up. If you guys want to catch the earlier parts of the space, or if you want to catch a replay, feel free to go on our website, click on our social Reddit links, and go on our YouTube, and you should see a playlist with all the past Crypto World Radio shows that have gone on before, and also 5 to 10 minutes after the space, it'll be uploaded right on there. So feel free to subscribe and leave some feedback over there, and click bell notifications so you can catch these spaces. I know some of you guys have been DMing me about that. You guys have been missing spaces sometimes, so just to make you guys aware, I always like to do that sort of like at the halfway or 3/4 of the way through in the show. So Nicholas, man, what's going on, my man? Welcome up.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Wabi. And to continue the line of the conversation previously, the thing that keep me interested in this space is how vibrant it is. Because, for better or for worse, like there is something going on. Like we are like 5 days into 2023 and there is news all over the place. There is always something to do in this space. I come from the traditional finance background, but a boring one, which is in a country in South America, which is not that really exciting when you contrast to what happened in crypto. Also being like business developer and consultant advisor for some projects in crypto, options project, Web3 games, borrow and lending protocols. And recently I was involved in the bankruptcy claims, which, by the way, there's a lot of people that got really, really hard. Like, I got a guy that he was like a top executive and he wanted to liquidate his contract because it was a contract of like $20 million, which FTX didn't pay to him.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the solution is he should have used crypto instead of using a bank. Like if you use crypto, you don't have this problem. And this comes back to what I was saying, where I would welcome it if the centralized exchanges all get fucking wrecked, because they shouldn't be here. We shouldn't have centralized exchanges in crypto. We should have decentralized exchanges and fiat gateways, right? If you want to onboard money to crypto, you can use MoonPay, right? And I think that's the way it should go.
Yeah, absolutely. But on the other hand, that I think that there is a lot of people that are really hypocrite. Like I'm sure, like many of these, let's say the bankless guys, they don't necessarily have like all their money in DeFi. I'm sure that a lot of part of like their money is in a bank, despite they being called bankless.
Yeah. I'm not against banks. I'm against centralized exchanges, which are basically these unregulated banks that also do gambling, that also do venture capital investment, that also do risky lending. Like, look, I like women, right? But I don't want my whore, my mother, and my wife to all be the same woman, right? That's kind of like what centralized exchanges are, you know? And my sister, right?
Hey guys, I don't want to be a Weenie Hunt Junior reporter, but it is what it is. It's just that time of the month for me. Apparently, there's been a Twitter database leak, and I put it up on the Nest. Over 200 million unique records of Twitter users and their email addresses. And unfortunately, some phishing might be going on, guys. So be mindful of that. All right, be mindful. It's up on the Nest. I know it has nothing to do with the topic going on right now, but
Holy fucking shit, dude. It really is fucking scam season, isn't it?
yeah,
235 million is huge.
yeah. And you know who retweeted? You know who
Yeah.
retweeted that? You know who retweeted that? You know who? It was Nillion, dude.
They always got
Nillion,
our backs.
Nillion, dude. Nillion came in clutch, bro. So it it really might be scam season, bro.
It's been scam season since last April, bro.
Dude, it's been scam season
It's been scam year.
since Vegano Cheese Freed started visiting the Biden administration. That's when you knew something was up. Like, dude, if you're in crypto, why would you ever want to meet with the president of the United States for what, dude? So you can eat McDonald's, dude, and like water down Coca-Cola? Come on now. Should have been paying attention to his PNL, dude. Like, Caroline was down $1 billion plus in May. How do you do that? And then news comes out that FTX and DCG all ganged up on Luna, which was like something that I was entertaining back in the summer, but I was being called an idiot and a fool, especially by by the Terra community. And now look at what's happened, bro. You know, like actual facts are coming out, and from what the reports show, if you were a lending desk and you had anything to do as far as like conspiracy theory to bring down Terra, like Terra Luna, you're gonna be fined. So, isn't that something, bro? They literally like shat down.
Is that a thing?
Yeah, dude, they shat on the greatest thing to happen to crypto since Ethereum, dude. Like, we could have had a vibrant ecosystem. And I said this back in April. And Naka, you can test me on that. I made a status that said, if this industry manages to get rid of Terra Luna, we get set back. Potential. This is potential to get set back by a number of years. And it's going to take a while, right? But I understand there are some things like Celestia, Arbitrum, the other ETH2s and things like Nillion that can bring back that innovation. But I mean, dude, if you came from Terra, you know what I'm talking about. And it's kind of wild how this all comes to fruition now. Like, it really seems that, if you're labeled a conspiracy theorist and a crazy person a couple of quarters ago, you're now a genius,
I was going crazy on the conspiracies right when it happened.
Yeah.
There's too many weird timings.
Yeah. Yeah. And if you guys notice on Binance, CZ took out the warnings. There used to be like a little warnings flashing sign whenever you wanted to trade Luna and Lunk. But moving on. I don't want to make this a Terra space. This is not what that is. This is just a kind of irony, how everything shaped out. Definitely not calling for a Do Kwon redemption arc. Not calling for that at all. But what I am saying is that it seems these individuals bit the hand that feeded them. So you guys remember one of my earlier spaces when we had Zuzi on? He was saying how if you were a fund, you had to be exposed to Terra in some shape, way, or form. If it wasn't the token, it was at least a yield on Anchor. But the protocol worked as it should. It was not a scam. Nobody wanted everyone to go to zero. It was a blatant attack. This could easily happen to Ethereum. All the validators can just pull rug, sell all their stuff. Vitalik can pull the plug. So this is all very fragile stuff here, guys. This is all very fragile stuff here.
Well, I mean, Luna is
without a seatbelt. That's what that was.
Luna's different than Ethereum because Luna has a stable coin attached to it with the possibility to sort of instantly mint virtually infinite Luna tokens, and that's exactly what happened. Whereas ETH doesn't have that, right?
But
you can't mint 15 gazillion trillion ETH in 1 second. It doesn't work like that.
It did take them cratering the entire market to like do it.
Yeah. I think
they had to destroy all of crypto to take Luna down.
Yeah, that's the thing.
No,
dude.
because Luna was a flawed design, right? Like having a stable coin that has more market cap than this volatile token that supports it and an infinite mint on the volatile token, it's just asking for the thing to collapse. Like
it was kind of like the Federal Reserve model we have now.
Well, not really.
Yeah, I think it would have collapsed inevitably, even despite the. Like,
go ahead.
At the end of the day, it needs more inflows than outflows, and that's like that would have happened eventually.
It was like a fiat on crack. That like normally like central banks now, like the Bank of England was buying its own bonds recently, which is like essentially collateralizing its money with itself, which is essentially what Luna was. Luna was like an entire 100-year debt cycle in 2 years.
Yeah, I mean there is some similarity to this that goes on with government bonds because they have British government bonds called gilts, and they have the pound, Japanese government bonds and the yen, and they kind of do the whole Luna UST Ponzi with it. But I mean, they have these like national fiat currencies can't do infinite programmatic mint of bonds.
So that's the thing. They don't unwind that they're collateralized by real businesses and heavy machinery and militaries and
exactly. They're basically collateralized by the real industrial output of the country as an asset, and that has some non-zero value, right? Whereas Luna is, UST Luna is, it's just basically a game that people can play where one day the music's going to stop and everyone who's holding either of the tokens just gets wrecked, right? It's just the way the game's built. But basically, the way you can think of Luna UST is some kind of escalating game of chicken where everyone keeps bidding higher and higher and higher. And, everyone gets the option to pull out at any point. But once people have bid it up enough, if there's no more new bidders come in, everyone who's still in loses, right? So it's kind of like a game of financial chicken that's sort of mathematically guaranteed to collapse. I think people just didn't realize that. I mean, the Luna holders kind of did realize that. It's the UST holders that didn't realize. Like UST holders, a lot of them were normies. They thought they were holding dollars with yield, right? They were, right?
You had industry people that should have known better kind of caused that. You had people like Raoul Paul saying it's
yeah. And they had fucking what was it? Y Combinator had a business that was basically just take your money and put it into Luna. I can't remember the name of it. It was a really cringe name.
I heard there was actually a bunch of that, that kept happening. All of the kind of mainstream DeFi products were just pitching
put it in Anchor.
So they're we'll just it's gonna be like a payment app. It's gonna be like Venmo, but we use Anchor.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Just park your money in Luna for that risk-free 20% yield. People who are holding UST thought they were holding dollars with a nice free yield. What they were actually holding was the Luna token, but without the upside.
I don't know. I think it's interesting though to remember that big tech hedge funds like Tiger Global were blowing up before Luna ever blew up, though, which is pretty impressive. like I think what stuck so many people in it, like at least for me, was like the thesis is kind of like this is a euro dollar, and then our just not expecting like the craziest rate hike like in history, like that could have been unwound, if every risk asset in the world did drop 70% kind of deal. Like it probably would have survived in 2018.
Dude, what's wild, dude, is that like if the attack wouldn't have happened, like it would probably just be chilling at like $2, $3. Nothing
What,
would have
Luna?
happened. Yeah, probably,
No,
man.
no. That thing was not stable in the downwards direction. Right? You can't unwind Luna without it blowing up.
Yeah, well, yeah, like like even the stock market was like illiquid when it blew up, right? And then like they dropped like $1 billion or like 100,000 borrowed Bitcoin like on the market, like crashed the entire market, and then specifically targeted like they had like Alameda had just put up the UST shorts like a couple days before that. Like, you know what I mean? Like everybody specifically targeted Luna while the entire stock market was basically dead.
And that's the thing, dude. It was like a gangbang, dude. It was like a dragon that was about to be born, and then everyone just got like a rocket launcher.
Yeah, but I mean,
as the egg
thing
was
is,
hatching.
It's because there was money to be made, bro. Like,
Exactly, dude. And
yeah,
that's the
but
thing.
I,
Like,
I
everyone was like attacking this one thing. It's like, dog, you understand that you're gonna suffer, right? Like, dude, I even remember back in like the summertime. Of course, I got this wrong completely. I was saying how like KuCoin might have been in trouble, and there was every reason to be like on guard, right? And then I received all this hate, and then I got a couple of messages like right before FTX, and then I messaged them back, and I'm like, well, looks like it was actually FTX that was caught in the contagion, right? So it's like, you know, it might not have hit KuCoin, but it sure as shit hit FTX, man. And the fact of the matter is, a few weeks before this was going on, Sam Bankman-Fried went on record to say that, like, what do you guys think is going to happen to UST when they're trying to put all these volatile assets to back it? What do you think is going to happen? And what you want to know what happened, dude? That $1 billion OTC trade was used against Quan, but then again, like it was all based on trust. If you're involved in the lending business, you have to be aware of counterparty. But at the end of the day, dude, at least we got cheaper prices, right? That's what we all care about. So at least it's going to grant us that last chance at generational wealth again, right? 2020 in March, generational wealth buying opportunity, right?
yeah, it's true, man. It's true. Although, I mean, I do kind of, like you have to understand that every cycle is going to give you less of a pump. People who bought the top of Bitcoin are probably going to get a 2x, I think.
Yeah, same here. Same here. My statistics for getting out in the next market cycle, and I'm going to go on record to say this again. When Ethereum is over $1 trillion in market cap, when BTC is over $2 trillion in market cap, when you have both of those assets equate to more than the prior all-time high in market cap, you need to get out. And if you have the total amount of stable coins in market cap, right? I'm saying Tether, USDC, DAI, all of those, and some more stable coins that may come into the market. If the stablecoin market cap equates north of $500 billion. I'm not going to say $1 trillion because I think that's absurd. But once you see the stablecoin market cap approach like, 3/4 of $1 trillion, right? Getting upwards near that, and you have that, and Ethereum and Bitcoin start to get north of like 4 trillion. You need to leave. You need to leave. You need to leave, and you need to leave now. I'm going to say it again. You need to leave now. When you see Bitcoin and Ethereum as a whole, those two combined equate to more than $3 trillion. And the stablecoin market cap equate to almost $1 trillion. Because you can easily multiply that by two, right? Say like, what is it, Naka? Total three, everything excluding stablecoins and BTC.
I think so. Total 3 excludes BTC and ETH, but it doesn't exclude stablecoins. You have to exclude the stablecoins separately.
Yeah, that. So if you have that equate equate to like close to like two
I mean,
trillion.
like, I think it's really kind of like a bit early to think about getting out for the next. I mean, like, look, next cycle
I mean, dude, a
there's
trillion
gonna,
market cap for ETH.
yeah.
That's insane, dude. That is absurd.
What would the price be if the market cap freeze was $1 trillion?
That'd be like 12. That'd be like
Yeah, it'd be like 12,
12K.
13K.
Yeah, dude, that's absurd.
Possibly
That's
more because of the network effects of the
I mean,
like that's it,
yeah,
man.
I mean, honestly, ETH can go above 12K. You know, it doesn't have to top out at 12K.
At
Like,
that
it can
point,
go
dude,
to,
I'm out. I'm good. Like that is it. Like, what are you
yeah,
gonna
I
write it
mean,
for? Like an extra 20%, 15?
it can go to 25K. It can go to
Oh
30K. Like,
hell! Oh, oh,
it
oh
depends.
man!
It depends.
25K is out there.
It depends. It depends how things play out, right? I mean, it depends what's happened to ETH BTC, right? Like, you know, is ETH BTC at like 0.2 or something, right? You know, okay, if ETH BTC is at 0.05 and we're getting a little bit, probably not going to send ETH to 25K, but it depends, right? We could have the flippening have already happened by then, so I mean, like, look, the real tell is going to be when we see celebrities shilling crypto on the TV again, and like Kramer is bullish, and it's on Fox News again, and you know, like your grandma's asking you whether she should buy, that kind of thing. Like that kind of attitude to crypto, I think, will probably come again. And at that point, if you've bought in the bear market, if you're up a lot, you should de-risk. But I think what I found from this run is I lost way more money from selling too early, because I sold my first Ethereum at $500 and it went to almost 5K. I sold about half of my bag at 500 actually. Like, I lost way more money selling too early than what I lost selling too late.
Oh man. Maybe Warren
because
Buffett.
because the thing is, like, if you look at the way bear markets like tend to be, you're going to get some bounces usually to get out that are going to be at like, you know, 50% of the all-time high or something like that, maybe a little bit more. If it's going to go up a lot, you know, getting out at 50%, 60% of the high is fine, as opposed to getting out at 10% of the high if you're too early. You know, that's like a 5 or 6x gain from being an early seller to being a late seller. So, you know, I think for me, the biggest consideration now is like, how bad is it going to get, right? Like, when Wabi's like, we're going to be done by Easter, I'm like, yeah, dude, of which, like, is it going to be Easter 2024 that we're done by, like, or 2025? Like, because we're not going to be done by Easter of 2023, right? Unless there's a miracle in TradFi, right? Because TradFi is going to be dumping for the rest of this year.
Like a credit event. I think it's probably going to be a credit event.
I mean, the only way I can see us being done by Easter is if things actually go really badly, and it just fucking collapses.
Yeah,
right?
it's looking like that.
Just over and done with. You know, then we probably wouldn't bottom in Easter, but we'd be close to it. You know, if we see like a minus 50% quarterly candle on the S&P, and the S&P is like below 2,000, then
I think we're gonna have a lot
we're
of
done.
problems.
We're done, right?
Having
If we get that. Well,
Yeah.
or a one in front of it, right? I mean, if we have a one handle on the S&P by Easter, then yeah, we're probably done, right? But you know, if it's not that bad, then could it last a year? Could it last 2 years? Like, I don't know. I mean, this is kind of the difficult thing for me.
I don't know, man, dude. If I see Bitcoin at 9K, dude, I'm just gonna ape and walk away for a year. I don't give a shit if it goes down to 6K at that point, man. Like, I'm not gonna try to catch the bottom, dude. I'm just gonna try to catch, like, whenever I hear the Bears Euphoria music blast in my ears. It's kind of like being in a Metallica concert, right? When you're hearing Metallica's One, you know, and you start hearing the guitar solo, and they're going crazy, and You know, like the drums start going nuts. A little bit after that, as the volume starts turning down, the music's changing. It's time to go in, dude. I'm not going to be looking at anything else at that point. You're talking Bitcoin at 9K, dude. A year after that, dude, I'm going to be up like 200% after that. Like, what's my downside at 9K? Like 20% after that. I think you'll be good, because at that point, dude, like miners will be 50% in the red, and I truly believe that around that point, TradFi is likely going to scoop up the pieces, because the mistake that these people in crypto did is that, they thought they were Bernie Madoff, but they would get off in the clear. That's essentially what SBF was, right? He was like a Bernie Madoff, but a lot younger. I think there was even like a photo taken of Sam when he was dressed up in a suit, and they put him next to Bernie Madoff. And bro, like the people behind him looked exactly like the same people that were there taking in that photograph. And you're starting to see the same thing, right? You're starting to see Sam walk the streets after his court hearing, and people are pushing him around and all that stuff, and he has that blank, you know, that blank fluoride stare. It looks staged, to be honest. But I guess we'll finish off the space by asking one question to the panel. What do you guys think is going to happen to Silvergate? You think they're going to implode? Yes or no? Start off with Naka.
Well, I'm actually kind of worried about this, because if Silvergate blow up, that could endanger USDC, and I have funds in USDC. So I don't know, and I actually need to find out. As far as I've heard, they're probably going to be okay. Their stock's getting wrecked, but like a bank doesn't necessarily go bankrupt just because its stock's doing badly, right? So don't know.
Yeah. USDC is like the framework of the CBDC, though, isn't it? Like they can freeze your funds and all that stuff. There's like
Yeah, but
carbon footprint.
USDC is backed by government bonds, US government bonds, which are very safe, but it also has some cash backing to provide liquidity, because those bonds are like 90-day T-bills. So that means you might need to wait 90 days to be able to cash them. So they need some cash as like a buffer. And I believe some of that buffer cash is held at Silvergate, right? So if Silvergate were to collapse, that could mean that USDC is no longer one-to-one backed, and that could cause a run on it. But I don't think Silvergate is actually going to go bust. But I'm not sure.
I think that Silvergate is going to be okay, because they are under the FDIC, which it gives you some degree of guarantees.
Well, FDIC is going to insure small depositors, right? Up to 125K or 250K or something. But I don't think that's going to apply to each individual USDC holder.
I heard that they liquidated like assets on a $700 million loss or something that wiped out all of their profits for the last 10 years. I don't know if they're going to go bankrupt, but there's probably some sort of restructuring has to happen. Although, like, I would imagine there's enough people interested in, USDC for other banks to like come in and like, either buy out or, buy share in them.
Yeah, I'm going to have to look into it, because this is a pretty important question. To basically, you don't really want to guess the answer to this, right? You want to know, and I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, it's still unfolding, so there's probably like can't know the whole picture right now.
But Bitcoin solves this, right?
I think there's enough incentive for people to come and backstop it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you completely. I think that would be so detrimental to the.
Yeah, and like,
I mean, come on.
the Silvergate, like, I don't know how technical their stuff is, but I would imagine people would rather salvage the Silvergate exchange network than build a new one.
Yeah. Well, I think that about wraps it up for today's episode. I want to thank you all on the speaker panel for coming up here. Thanks, Naka. Thanks, Payne. Thanks, Nick.
Appreciate it, buddy.
Emergent. Thanks to Jack, who was up here
Appreciate it,
earlier.
Bobby.
No doubt, man. If you guys want to catch a replay of this episode, feel free to go up on our Because Bitcoin YouTube, and you should see the replay 5 to 10 minutes after the space. And if you guys enjoy more of these crypto-specific spaces from myself and the community, feel free to follow the Because Bitcoin Twitter page and turn on bell notifications so that you can be made aware of when these spaces go on. I do Crypto World Radio Monday through Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, and sometimes I'll have special guests, but due to some time zone differences, it might be a little bit earlier, a little bit later, and that's why I always tell you guys to turn on those bell notifications when you follow us here on Twitter so you can be updated ahead of time. Tomorrow will be another episode at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. Nothing really too crazy. There might be something special for next week for you guys, so look forward to that. And up on the nest, you'll see our link to our Discord. I'm just clearing these pinned tweets out. Feel free to join our Discord. The link's up above. We have over 1,000 members, and we have more premium services. We have our exclusive alpha chat and our alpha voice chat. You can join the Because Bitcoin chads. It's only $25 a month, and you get a pure signal, zero noise, sort of chat when it comes to the crypto and the equity markets. Our CEO Max is pretty active in there, as well as Carter and some of the other team members from the Because Bitcoin crew, and it helps support us to give you guys this content. This is all 100% community backed, by the way. So you'll be helping me out as well. So, guys, I want to thank you all so much. Thank you all for participating in the episode. Again, check out the replay if you'd like, 5 to 10 minutes after the space is done on our YouTube channel. Thank you all so much. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you all so much for supporting me here at Crypto World Radio Because Bitcoin. Means the world to me to have an audience. So thank you all so much for the last couple of weeks that I've been on here. It's been an amazing month so far. I look forward to the rest of the months moving forward and years as well. So thank you all so much. Have a good night. Have a great day. God bless you.
The trading current is just math. It's just math. It has a 95.45% hit rate when we deviate outside of CP2 and CN2. All you had to do is recognize that 95% of the time when we get over here, under this blue line, we get some sort of mean reversion. So let's just assume you long right here. 95 out of 100 times, when I buy this, I'm gonna get some sort of bounce. It's just math. Look what would have happened as we move up. Look at the bounce that came after. And now look where we are. If you had just blindly followed the current, you take all emotions out of it, you say, I'm going to trust the statisticians. You would have bought Dow Jones somewhere down here under 30,000, depending on how you want to measure it from absolute top to bottom, 20% move. We also have multi-time frame alerts. You don't even have to be at your computer on TradingView. You can ping your phone. Now, the current has some really awesome features, and I would urge you guys to join our Discord to get access to it. We give it away for free as a tool to the community. It's just math. There's really no need to overcomplicate things, not even in the slightest.